Good morning. It's Wednesday, January the 14th. I'm Arkansas Weather Network meteorologist James Bryant. We have quite a bit to talk about going forward. The last half of January will certainly be colder than the first half, and that starts today with the front that arrives. And you look at those high temperatures, not too bad, but I think temperatures are going to fall by late today. I want to give a quick shout out to First Community Bank. They hosted a wonderful event for us yesterday on Weddington Drive in Fayetteville. First Community Bank will truly take care of you if you go to them with your banking needs. I can't recommend them enough. They have been a great partner to us. Our temperatures today, high temperatures, yes, will be in the 50s across most of the state. But what we're going to be looking at as we go into the afternoon hours is a strong cold front has moved through the state. Winds are going to pick up as you get into the afternoon hours. We could see wind gusts between 20 and 30 miles per hour. And you see the streamlines there. These winds are out of the northwest. So that's a cold wind. And it's a true cold front. I'll show you what the temperature ends up being late this afternoon, but I want to set the stage here for you as we go through the next few days. We just had that front come through, so by this afternoon, that colder air is beginning to seep into the state. By Thursday morning, we're feeling it across most of the state with lows down in the 20s. It'll still be kind of windy with a little bit of breeze, so you'll have some pretty hefty wind chills to deal with as well. We're going to rebound briefly, and I mean briefly on Friday, to where we could get up into the 50s in central and south Arkansas, and that's only because there's a southwest wind in front of this front. By late Friday, that next front arrives, and I think the next round of Arctic air that arrives for the weekend is even colder than what we'll experience this Wednesday into Thursday. So that round really begins to settle into the state on Saturday, but then especially as you go into Sunday morning. Sunday morning, to me, at least right now, looks like the coldest morning of the next 7 days. I think we're going to see teens for lows up in North Arkansas and probably get down to about 22 degrees in the Little Rock area, mid-20s all across South Arkansas. So that's the type of cold we're looking at on Sunday morning. I don't think we're going to see most of us stay below freezing during the day on Sunday, but Sunday into Monday, certainly possible that a few locations do stay way down in the 40s or even in the 30s for most of the day. All right, let's look at the temperature trend for today. By 5 o'clock today, temperatures will be in the 30s up in North Arkansas, falling into the 40s in Central Arkansas, low 50s down in the south part of the state. 20s for almost all of us on Thursday morning, and then by Thursday afternoon, only rebounding into the 40s. Those winds, though, will have shifted out of the southwest, so that is going to mean that Thursday night, slightly warmer. Friday, back into the 50s. It doesn't last. We're going to head back down and be pretty chilly on Saturdays. High temperatures only reach the 40s then. And then Sunday morning, probably the coldest morning of those next few days and the coldest Arctic shot that we've got here, at least in the short term. 22, the low for Little Rock right now. Teens all across North Arkansas. And we'll see how much of a rebound there is on Sunday. At least right now, it doesn't appear that there's going to be much. Let's talk about wind chills. I gave you the real temperature first, so that was the real temperature, but it is going to be pretty windy later today. Look at these wind chills, 5 o'clock this afternoon, 20s, 30s in North Arkansas. It's going to feel really cold, and you saw a dip down 20s for wind chills as you get into Thursday, but then I want to skip ahead to what the wind chills could be like as you get into the weekend, because I think that's truly where they're going to be feeling the worst. Yeah, you just saw it there. I think there's a chance that we could see the wind chills dip down into the teens across most of the state as that really cold air makes its way in through here on Sunday morning. I think some of this data is a little too low. It often is with the wind chill. So maybe not low single digits, but teens do seem pretty likely, at least for wind chills, as you get into Sunday morning. All right, let's look at the overall setup, because that front that we just had come through today with the very light rain is gone. It is dry on Thursday. Shocker, it's just going to continue to be dry. It's some of the driest weather that we've had for winter in a very, very long time. Here comes Friday's front, though. Here's something I want to watch as we get into the weekend. I think there's going to be a chance for a few snow flurries on Saturday as a very weak disturbance makes its way through here with cold air in place. We could squeeze out just a little bit of moisture, mainly over northern and western Arkansas. So yes, snow flurries, a possibility? I think so. And that's mainly on Saturday. They're not going to be a big deal. Very light and gone by late Saturday evening. And then the next round of colder air settles in across the state. So you just saw the next few days are going to be very, very dry. What about the temperatures? Well, they're generally at or below average, and there is a little bit of some rebounding here As you get into Friday, back into the 50s. Maybe as you get towards Monday, at least this data has us back in the 50s, but that is to be determined. There's some boundaries working through here. Sunday, Monday, we'll see how far north they get, but certainly looks like it's going to be a chilly weekend with a reinforcing shot of colder air early next week. So you get shot of cold air number 1 today into Thursday, number 2 this weekend, number 3 as you get into Tuesday, Wednesday. It does look like maybe a warm-up comes towards the end of next week. That warm-up's been showing up in the data for several days now, and it just keeps getting pushed back. So we'll see if that's actually realistic. I have my doubts. I do think a warm-up will come, though, but I think what follows the warm-up, whenever it occurs, whether it's next week or next weekend, I think a bigger shot of cold air maybe arrives, even colder than what we've experienced. I do want to highlight the precipitation outlook. January 21st through 27th, they've upped the probability that we're going to have above average precipitation, and that is great news. So it looks like the month may actually end with good precipitation chances. In the next 7 days, not so much. Of course, you had that chance for light rain today, but otherwise dry through early next week. You see plenty of cold nights, including Saturday night, where we could get down to 22 degrees, at least at Little Rock, much colder across North Arkansas, and expect mid-20s all across South Arkansas. You can find these numbers on the Arkansas Weather Network app for your town. It'll be coded to your location, whether that's Northwest Arkansas, Southwest Arkansas, or somewhere else in the central part of the state. All right, I want to take a look at some of the data that we've been taking a look at the last few days. This is raw Euro data. You see the ups and downs over the next few days, the cold nights, the big warm up. That's just raw data. We'll look at the ensemble blend. You see there's some pretty cold days here within the next 7 days, and not a real warm up until you get to the end of next week. So this is just what I want to point out is, pretty chilly for the next 7 days. Lots of nights below freezing, no moisture. I think as we get to that end of next week time frame, there is going to be a brief warm up. How big that warm up though is to be determined. And then what follows that at the end of January does look to be like a legitimate cold shot. That also is going to correspond with the chance for rain increasing after January 21st and maybe lasting through the end of the month. This is some of the best data we've seen in a long time. I can't guarantee it's going to be just great chances for rain, but if you look at the precipitation anomalies on the ensemble data from the Euro, at least it's painting part of Arkansas with above average precipitation as you get towards that January 21st through 27th timeframe. So there's at least going to be a chance for rain. Let's look at the temperature trend, and this is above average, below average, so that blue-green is well below average. The time frame you're looking at is this weekend, so there's Friday's rebound where we're in the 50s. Here comes the cold shot for the weekend. That's Saturday, that's Sunday, and then possibly a reinforcing shot of colder air as you get into Monday and Tuesday. So that's some legitimate January cold air as you go through Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And then most of the data does have a brief rebound towards the middle of next week. So 1 week from today, watch what happens. We're rebounding, but I want to point to what happens up in southern Canada and on the eastern side of the Rockies. Look at the cold air that builds as you get our warm up down south. You get the cold air building, and that's it's getting over a week out now. So that's about the extent of what I feel like is reliable data. What often happens though is when you see this cold air build, it will eventually spill south, and that is what this model has happening. So we will see. We'll watch the trends in the data, but that could also mean that after our brief warm up later next week, if that does indeed occur and get this far north, there could be another cold shot arriving for late in the month. Until then, we'll watch for the chance of flurries on Saturday, and it will be pretty chilly as you get through the next few days. Remember, the temperatures for your Wednesday dropping by late today, and then generally, except for the rebound on Friday, we're in the 40s for the next little bit, depending on your location in the state. You can check your location on the Arkansas Weather Network app. Hey, it will feel like winter for the better part of the next week. Enjoy it. I know it's been a warm winter so far, but at least for the next little bit, it's going to be pretty normal.